first of all, let's start with gold, right? Let's start with gold. uh this is gold currently, but before I do anything on gold, let me look at the dollar index and actually see what does the dollar index indicate, what does the dollar index shows me. All right, so let's first look at dollar index. Of what can we see at the dollar index? So let me look at the DXY. No, not this one. Yeah, here's the dollar index. What the hell was happening here? We had this huge spike to the top, which eventually was to fill this gap. Yeah, it was trying to fill this gap, but it didn't fully fill it. It turned halfway, and then now it's bottom of this resistance. So now it's at the bottom. So now looks like the dollar index is going down. But the look of things looks like now the dollar index is coming. Let me go to H1 time frame so that I actually see what I mean. And then here, yes, we fill this tiny gap. Looks like the market is coming down here for the look of things. Let me just remove this because I don't want to reanalyze dollar index. The only thing that I would look like the market is coming here. Then from here it can decide to push back to the top so that it completely fills this gap for the look of things. But I was expecting it to from here to come at least to come here, right? And then like it can turn here, but it created this huge spike, and then now it's at the bottom of my resistance. So that indicating to me that this week we might be selling, right? This week we might be selling. And also we have like a pattern here that I think we have broken, which is this one. Yeah, man, this is like a tiny head and shoulder here, but this spike was huge. I think we're selling. We're below this. We broke retested. Let's look at the 50-minute time frame. What do we see on a 50-minute time frame? Yeah, there is also bearish engulfing candle. Yeah, we are selling. Yes, it's either we are selling. Our take profit could be here at this low, right? Currently, but now let's look at gold. What is gold looking for us, right? So this is a gold for us. So let me just gonna start with the with H4 time frame. First of all, I'm gonna start at H4 time frame and actually see what do I see at H4 time frame. Okay, this is my H4 time frame. Here is my resistance, which is my highest high, right? And then here I'm gonna look where the market created the biggest movement. The market created the biggest movement here, right? And I'm gonna tell you the reasons why it created it from here, right? As you can see from this spot going forward, the market created this entire move to the upside, right? So what are the chances when the market comes back here it will create the same things? Aha, you can see even here the market is starting to reject. So that means in future the market has to create this move again, going to that top side, at least coming back around here, right? At least coming back where? At least coming back here, right? At least coming back here. So now I have an indication of what I'm looking forward to, right? I can just remove this and then now like reanalyze everything properly, right? And also the dollar index is showing me that it could have some medium term sells, right? So from here you're just like, okay, from here overall structure it's bullish, I would say, on gold. And then here we had a gap that we had to fill, which was right there. All right, the market filled it. Now it's going to the top side. So since I know that, let me look at the point where the market could lose volatility, right? So if I can look at my fibs, my fib levels starting from there to there, right? This is a new strategy, by the way, which I'll be releasing soon. All right, so I'm working on that. So we can see, okay, here this is where the market could lose volatility for me. So we're just gonna make it dotted lines and we're just gonna change the color so that we can see, okay, this is where the market could lose some volatility. So once the market gets here, two possible things would happen. You see that the market is gonna go up. Once it gets here, it's gonna start consolidating, whether it continues to go to the top side or it just turns from this point, it goes to the bottom side, right? So that's why once we touch this, we're gonna last step away from the market, from trading gold, and actually see what actually is happening on the market. But currently, over long term, it's long-term buyers. I can see long-term buyers currently. So yeah, it's like that. So now let me look forward. Let me just dive in deeper now and look forward to the market. Okay, now since we are here, what could you expect from the market? Let's go to the H1 time frame, and then now start looking for a structure that we can look for an entry on from, right? Okay, we can see here that okay, we have this high, right? We can see that we have this high, and just add someone. I think there's someone who just in here. Okay, no problem. Let me just okay, let's continue. So from here, I'll say this is our current resistance, right? So our current resistance is this one. Okay, so let me just change its color to white, so that now we know that this is no longer like the highest high, or the high that we're gonna lose volatility from. No, this is just the high that we know that if the market goes above it, it's gonna continue buying. So not right now, I know from this point, right, I can just even throw a support from here to here. That okay, I know now that when the market goes up, if it decides to go up here and breaks here, just retesting here, then continue going to the top side, right? It's easy like that. Okay, it's that easy. So first things first, I need to look also at the areas where the market could do what, could make reversals, right? If I can see here, the market here, it pushed the market all the way down at this point. So at this point, I can just say there is another point, make a line just like that, right? And then also here the second one. All right, these are the points. If the market touches, the market could reverse, right? So from here, I know that the market is either from here, it's gonna have to break, then come on top, then you're continuing buying, and then from here it could touch and do some little reversals before it can gain momentum to go to the top side. Once you break above, we're gonna retest this area, then we're gonna push again to this area, and then here we can play around. Then once you break again, wait for that retest, and then we enter buy up until that point. So those are the points that you could look for to the market. So that means that once we touch them, we wait to break them, then retest, then we continue with the buys. That's how simple it is, right? So I saw that, I look at the point at the bottom, where is the market going to test on now. So as you can see here, we had like a head and shoulder, which was this one, right? We had a head and shoulder, which was this one here. I don't know if it's clear. All right, we broke it. This was the neckline, we retested it. I think its purpose is to push the market to come back here this low, which we haven't touched yet. I think that's its sole purpose. It came back to push the market to touch this low, so that we can continue buying, right? So that's why we had sells. It's because of this head and shoulder, right? That's why we had this sells. So we would say this was just the neckline here, that the market did what it did, respect, it did retest it. So I'm just gonna remove the wicks, and right, see, the market broke it, retested it, just to push the market to come back to come at this low, right? Because why do I selected this low, which is this one? Why have I selected it? I selected it because it created the biggest movement to this top currently, created this whole entire move, right, on a H1 time frame. And what I'm doing here, what am I doing? I'm following a trend. Why am I following a trend? Because the overall structure that we analyze at the highest time frame is bullish. So I'm just going to look for any bullish movement right? So this is good. So what are the possibilities when the market comes back here? Is gonna go to the top side. They are very high, right? So we just need to do what? We just need to wait for the market to come back where? To come back here, right? Touch here and then goes to the top side, right? Right now you're just respecting this head and shoulder. From here we're gonna continue selling. That's what I'm seeing. That's the way I'm seeing it, right? We're just gonna sell from there to that point, right? So we are not gonna enter a sell. The reason why we're not gonna enter a sell, we don't want to trade against the trend. We want to go with the trend, right? Because you're gonna find yourself in some really sticky situations if you decide to trade against the trend, according to my experience, right? So what we're gonna wait for, there is this gap that the market created here, and then also there's another one here that the market now is currently created, which means the chances of the market really coming here now are really high to fill this gap, and then from touching here we're gonna go to the top side, right? Did we fill this gap? Yes, we did. So we just need to wait for the market to come back here, touch here, and then goes to that top side. Once it touches here, man, we are going up long terms. We are going up long terms. Like once it touches here, we are going to the top side. I don't want to lie about that. We are really going to the top side. So that's what I'm seeing from the market. So here we can just like put our buys from there to there to here, and then from there we can just like add this value that's gonna tell me where to put stop loss above entry, right? So there you go. From gold, now let's move to silver. Most likely silver likes to move like gold, right? Silver likes to move like gold, but we're gonna go to H4 time frame on silver. Start at the highest time frame, right? Let's start at the highest time frame. The reason why silver is selling now, you know why? It's because of this here. It's been respecting this current that was pushing to the bottom side. This is why it touched here and then it went to the bottom side. And also the reason is that it created a head and shoulder, which you can see here. This was like really beautiful head and shoulder that it created, which is this one there. Right, so we broke a line, and its sole purpose, why was the market doing this head and shoulder? What was its purpose? It was trying to push. See, we retested it. Now we're going to the bottom side. Why did it? The market, it was just pushing it to come back here. For the way that I looked, we're just pushing the market to come where? To come here, tap here before we go to the top side. So what I'm gonna do now is very simple. I'm gonna go to the highest time frame, right, and actually see what do we have at the highest time frame. So this is the highest time frame that I have. I can see that okay, we have this low that pushed the market all the way to the top side. Alright, we have this low and we have gaps to fill, which was we have this gap, which is here. Right, we have these gaps. So you could say from here the market went all the way there. So here we can say it is like our highest high for this movement, and then we can use our Fibonacci to actually show us where we could lose some volatility. And we can just use our Fib to tell us where we could lose some volatility. So by this analysis I could say, yeah, it's simple. Where you're gonna lose volatility, I can already see it. We can lose some volatility here. So we're gonna make it dotted lines to see that this is where the market could lose some volatility, and we're gonna change its color to be this, right? So we can just now remove this. We are no longer needing it, right? That's how simple it is. So seeing it as it is, let's go to a smaller time frame. Let's go to H1 time frame and actually see what do we have on H1 time frame. Okay, this is a H1 time frame. The market, of course, is now it's going down because it's retesting this resistance, right? Which there are other few resistance that the market, which is here, that the market. I'm gonna change this color back to the line and then back to white, right? There is here other resistance that the market is going to has to respect, right? So since I know this, now it became simple. Everything became simple. How? Because from here I could just move this. I know where the market is going. The market has to come here because this is where we created the biggest movement to the top side. It has to come back here in order for it to push to the top side, right? We are still selling. We're not buying yet. Most people thinking of already buying, of like now you're buying. No, you are still respecting this head and shoulder, which is this is a neckline that you retested, and this is a head and shoulder. If you can see it, right? This is the head and shoulder that we are still respecting, that pushing the market to the bottom side. I don't believe that we are yet there for the buys, so we also have to fill these gaps in the bottom side. There's this gap to fill here, and then also there's this one, making it a perfect setup for our buyers. Right, let's just wait for the market to come back here because the overall structure is bullish. We don't trade against the trend, we go with the trend, right? So from here to here, I will say we are going to the top side, really there. Just wait for the market to do that, and this is for so far this is one of the perfect setups too. You just need to be patient. You just need to be patient with the market. Don't need to rush everything, right? So once you rush, you ignore certain things or certain red flags about the setup, and then you start wondering why you take a loss. But when you really look at it, it was your fault. You just rushed everything, right? So also we can check where we can use the volatility. Yeah, so this is what I'm seeing on silver. Now let's go on German 30. No, I'm not gonna analyze BTC. Yeah, this is German 30. Let's go analyze German 30 together. So let me go to high short time frame. This is gonna be my highest time frame so far. What do I see on German 30? On German 30 we have certain things happening. We have this high, which is the highest high of them all, and then we have like this low that we are currently respecting. Alright, so our graph is between the lines. So what we can check for, what we can look forward to is like, okay, the market is going to lose volatility here. You see there is a gap there that the market hasn't filled, which is obviously coming here to fill this gap. Overall it's coming here, and where the market is going to lose volatility after touching this gap. So what we're going to do, we're going to just make the dotted lines, and we're going to just make this. Okay, this is how I eventually see things, right? This is how I see things, right? Okay, from this point you can see that our highest high is here, right? It's here, German 30. This is our highest high. I'm gonna change this line to our current highest high is here to white. So okay, since we know that here we had a double bottom pushing the market to the top side, so here we have another low. We have a low that the market could come back to retest, which is this low. The market has a high possibility of coming back all the way down here to touch here and before we move to the top side, right? But let's just wait and see, because the market has this low too, which the market could respect, right? So if I can just use my indicator here for the first time, yeah, here we are selling at this point. When the market is perfect, it's coming back here to this low, it's accurate. So and it's accurate. Let's go to H1 time frame and actually see what do we have on H1 time frame. Did 100% fill this gap? Yes, we did. No, I'll have to go to a lower time frame to see that. But after seeing that, I'm seeing this low too, this gap. For me, this gap you have to fill. That's how it is, man. You have to fill this gap. I know that most people are saying like, yeah, there is this low too that we could respect. That's why the market is respecting it. But I don't believe that this is it. I don't believe this is the low to push the market to come all the way to this top side to fill that top gap that we saw on 4 and H4 time frame. No, I don't believe that. What I believe is that the market from this point is just gonna be selling. Man. The market from this point is just gonna be selling. It's not yet time to buy. It's just gonna selling. It's just gonna selling from here to here. So what I'm gonna looking forward to, I'm gonna just wait for the market to come back here. If it decides to buy, I'm only gonna enter buys when the market does what. Let me do this trend line. The market breaks this trend line, right, and it goes above here. That's when now I can rethink. Okay, looks like the market does no longer want. So when the market breaks above here and then it comes here, that's when now I can reconsider buys to this top side, because now that would indicate that the market, okay, is no longer interested in this sales going to this bottom side. But overall, I'm seeing the market selling. I'm seeing the market going to this bottom side, right? I'm seeing the market going to this bottom side, which is here. I'm seeing the market going here. So what I'm gonna do, just gonna wait for the market to come back here, touch here, and then now we're gonna go all the way to this top side, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to. That's this is my plan A. Then plan B is if it breaks above here, but this is my plan A. Just to wait for the market to come back here. This is plan A, and then like plan B is to wait for you to break above and go to the top side, so which is here. This is my plan B. Right, this is my plan B setup, which is this one. So yeah, I think we are done for this session.